Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. It is Wednesday, April the 15th. We're here with your Houston Community College news and information. Thanks for being here with me this morning. Also joining me is Brittany Pacheco, our co-host. Brittany, welcome back to the show.
Hey, good morning, Todd. Good morning, everyone. Let's have a great Wednesday this morning.
It's hard to believe it is already Wednesday, and we've got some special guests. We've got a full show for you. Joining us, Dr. Christina Robinson, the Executive Director of Adult Education and Literacy Programs. Welcome to Up to the Minute.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here.
We're also joined for his regular Wednesday segment, HCC Police Chief Greg Cunningham. Chief, good to have you with us.
Good morning, guys. It's good to see everybody, and it looks like everybody's doing great.
We are doing good, and we're joined this morning right at the top of the show by Dr. Kurt Ewen, the Vice Chancellor of Strategy, Planning, and Institutional Effectiveness. Dr. Ewen, welcome back to the show. This month is moving along. Hard to believe we're in the middle of April, but most importantly, we're about a month into, counting spring break for many of us work, but we're about a month into this working remote thing so far.
Yes. And look, I'm already scheduling June meetings, so it doesn't feel like April anymore, other than when I go outside in the morning.
Well, it's beautiful out there this morning. If you haven't been out, folks, make sure you get out and take advantage of this weather. Maybe just get out. Do that social distancing, but get out for just a minute. Dr. Ewen, we appreciate you coming back to fill us in on the latest developments with strategy and planning. You're also the head of the coronavirus COVID-19 task force. HCC announced last week that we created a new crisis collaborative called H-Force. Can you tell me a little bit about what that means?
So I'm going to back up just for a second to explain it. We've got a number of facilities, and two of them are really state of the art when it comes to maker spaces, design, advanced manufacturing. That's the Stafford Workforce Building. That's where our Center for Excellence for Advanced Manufacturing is housed. And that we have the West Houston Institute, which has a 10,000 square foot makerspace. And between those two facilities, we've got more than 60 3D printers. We've got more than that in the system, but in those two facilities, we have 60 plus a lot of other tools. So we were getting requests early from a variety of places asking us if we could help with the development of personal protective equipment, or PPE, face shields, face masks, that kind of thing. So we started that up. We got some interest from the Harris County judge, the Fort Bend County judge. We've gotten lots of interest from those groups. Had some other press releases about our early work with them and TXRX, which is a not-for-profit makerspace on the east side of town. And we entered into a collaborative with them initially. We had other educational institutions in town coming to us saying, we'd like to be involved. So we have San Jacinto College. We have Houston ISD. We have Alief ISD. So that's fabulous. Four educational institutions in town, all printing, right? And I'll talk a little bit about what they're printing in a second. And so we decided that we didn't want HCC's name to be, it's not the HCC project. It's a crisis collaborative that we're calling H-Force that brings together community partners, educational partners into this work. So the schools I've already mentioned, Impact Hub of Houston. We just signed an MOU yesterday with a group called Connect Community, and I'll talk a little bit about how they're helping us. The Reliant Foundation is looking to give us some money to help with this in terms of donations. We've got the HCC Foundation has made donations, and this is a growing group of people that are coming together to make face masks and face shields and other potential other items as we move forward. Did I answer your question? I know I got a little long there.
No, you're really good at explaining the collaboration, because it sounds like this is a true collaboration with many of our partners, including other universities and colleges. But tell us more about TXRX, and their name sounds somewhat familiar. You say they have a makerspace on the east side of town, and they partnered with us on a project before this?
Yes. So a makerspace, for those who don't know, is like your dad or your grandfather's garage that just has every tool conceivable, where you can go in and make all sorts of things. And the makerspace on the east side of town, TXRX, is a partner of ours. They're on our board, helping us think about the makerspace at the West Houston Institute. And so they were in a partnership with the Texas Medical Center, trying to develop face shields for first responders and for medical professionals. And they invited us in, and we're working with them. And so they're trying to move as many of those shields out. And then we've taken this to a new place with face masks recently.
And what other projects is H-Force working on? Are there, you mentioned face shields, the PPE, is that sewn masks, or what exactly are those going to entail?
Right. So obviously everybody now knows the new word in everybody's vocabulary beyond social distancing is N95 masks. Those take very high level equipment to produce, and we don't have that capacity. But what we can do is we've got a lot of people both within the system and within the community who can sew. So there are better ways of creating a mask that you've sewn. So a bandana is one level of protection, but a properly sewn mask can provide even more protection to the police department. We're working on them for our police officers now. We've already delivered some to our mailroom folks who are still working on our behalf. And we want to be able to distribute these out broadly. So Connect Community already has a network of people who are sewing. We've gotten donations of bed linens and that kind of thing from hospitals and other locations that we're cutting now so that in the form that we need them. And we're going to be distributing them out for people to sew, collecting them back up, making sure they're in the right condition, and then pushing them back out to first responders and other people who may need them. This is not the ultimate form of protection, but for day-to-day wear, you see them in the stores. Everybody's wearing them now, and that's what's being recommended. So that's what we're looking at. The other thing is that in the maker community, so the people who are involved in makerspace work, are constantly developing new ideas around tools that we can develop, right? So we had a request 2 weeks ago for producing the test strips that were used to collect material from a person's mouth for the testing. Those can be produced on a 3D printer. You've seen on there's a young kid on Facebook who had produced a thing that goes behind the head that allows you to hold the face mask on your face without it causing indentations in the skin, right? Those can be very easily printed. So part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to print with all of the various groups in town that we've mentioned. And I forgot to mention University of Houston is involved, certainly the group out in Sugar Land. But there are lots of people who have a 3D printer in their home. There are lots of people who have a sewing machine in their home. And if they're so inclined, we're going to have on our H-Force website, the hforce.org, you can go on there, there's going to be data files that would allow you, if you have a 3D printer, to pull the data file down. You can do some printing and then drop it off to us, right? If you have a sewing machine, we'll make sure you've got the pattern that you need. You can sew them, drop them off to us. We're going to have drop-off locations. The goal is to give as many people the opportunity to contribute to this work as possible. And I think if we come together as a community, we can really make a big difference in what we need as a group.
You mentioned the website. Is that available now? It's at hforce.org. And if you have questions about this, would you direct them to that site?
That's correct. And the other thing I'll say while we're on is that there is a place for people to make a financial donation if they'd like to, and we're already seeing some traffic there. The other thing that we need is a lot of the material that goes into the printing of the face shields is scarce right now because people all over the country are trying to do the same thing we are. So if you have some of that material, or you work with a company that has some of that material, All of the things that we need will be on the website. And we'd be happy to accept that as a donation, and give people the credit for making the donation when they do that. That is actually the higher need right now, is to getting all the raw material that goes into the printing and the plastic that goes on the front.
Dr. Ewen, I know community colleges are responsible for or responsive to providing people for the workforce depending on what the community needs. But this type of situation seems unprecedented. In your career, have you ever taken part in such a monumental task of doing community outreach like this, where you're producing things for the medical community?
I basically think that most every day is a new challenge, and I'm seeing things every day that I've not seen before. I think we got a good dress rehearsal for this situation a couple of years ago in Hurricane Harvey. It caused us to think differently. I think one of the things that I see day in and day out is that in a crisis, the best of all of us begins to emerge. The level of cooperation and coordination within our college is growing exponentially, and people are wanting to reach out beyond institutional borders to help one another and to come to a shared conclusion. And I think if we do that, we have lots of resources as an institution we can put at the disposal of the community. And look, the real hard work is yet to come. So there's lots of people out of work. Our real role in this community is to make sure people get educated, that we're ready for students when they are to come back. Who knows? If we open soon, there's still probably going to be social distancing, figuring out how we have classes with smaller class sizes, how we continue to get people into laboratories, to lab spaces to get their workforce programs completed. That's the real hard work that's yet to come. This stuff we can do, and people are happy to help. And this is actually really on the scale of things that I'm doing. This is the easy stuff, and everybody's happy about wanting to help.
Dr. Kurt Ewen, Vice Chancellor of Strategy Planning and Institutional Effectiveness, thanks for being here this morning and updating us on H-Force. Great project, certainly makes you proud to be with HCC.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you. We're going to move on in another direction right now. We're happy to have Dr. Christina Robinson of the Adult Education Literacy Program join us again. Dr. Robinson, welcome back to the show. You and I have talked many times before about your Change Your Life for $20 campaign. We've done a lot of promotions with you guys. I guess right now we want to find out, number one, is that campaign still effective or still working right now? And number two, how are students in continuing education and adult education making the transition to this online learning environment?
Sure. Well, the team had to put a lot of work and effort into getting everybody ready to go. So literally in a matter of 2 weeks, it was a group-wide presentation for everyone to work together. And so our students, just like every other traditional student, is now going through Canvas. And it's a learning process. A lot of our students had never used Canvas before, so they're now using that. And then also we have some amazing distance learning products that our students are using for the distance learning component of Burlington Resources and a few others. So with that, a lot of, we call it remote learning. So that's basically attending face-to-face in a WebEx kind of version like we're talking today. Our students are logging on at 9 o'clock or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, whatever time their class time is, to attend that class. And then they can also attend that distance learning component on their own time so that they're meeting both requirements. So we are business as usual. Classes are up and running. And then we're going to be starting shortly a new registration next week for students who Maybe they couldn't start in March. We had a big registration in March that those students weren't able to start because of the holdup. So now we're getting them back in. We're working very closely with our continuing education group to match those classes. So some of those hands-on classes like welding, we're having to tweak some of those things in order to make sure students can continue. But the big focus is making sure students can continue and get that certificate as they want.
You know, I know the number one question people ask you, because when you and I did some promotions before, we had a new administrator that said, no, they really aren't offering classes for $20. There's more than that. But the $20 Change Your Life campaign, is that still working, and is it still just $20?
It is still just $20, which is an amazing value. And even more exciting, we have this amazing free book program right now going on through May 25th as well. So we already cover everything, but now students can get a whole wide variety of tools through that program as well. So all students do right now, they will actually complete the entire process online. And we will have a virtual orientation for them as well. And then they'll start class like any other student would, but in a virtual format for $20.
Right. Yeah, and I know when we had some of these campaigns, the popularity just went through the roof for it. You guys had lines standing out of people who are very interested in the Career for You Academy. Now, there are 6 different type of programs people can get involved in. Can you go over those real quickly?
Yes. So Career for You Academy is really an academy that encompasses healthcare academy, IT academy, business, technology, and construction trades and transportation. So those academies, if you want a certificate, those are the academies that you're going to go through. So what students do is they come in and they will take a support class while they're also taking a training class. So let's say I want to become a payroll accounting person. I'll come in, I'll enroll in the payroll accounting certificate program, and I'll be taking that support class at the same time to help me be successful. And then I'll complete and finish. So those programs are currently up and running. And what we've asked students to do right now is go to our website and sign up for our wait list. We have a huge number of students that are ready to go, and because of the changes that we've had, we've gone ahead and put them on a wait list, and we are contacting them individually so we can get them into the orientations. Career for You Academy orientations start the first week of May.
So the disciplines you mentioned there, just by the way, are really the essential jobs of people that are continuing to work right now. We're talking IT, business, technology, healthcare, transportation. Out there right now, and Dr. Ewen alluded to this, our work has just begun because a lot of people are losing their jobs.
Yes.
A lot of people are already unemployed and looking maybe to start a new career because the job they have may not be coming back again. Maybe they were in the restaurant industry and were laid off and are looking to get back in a very viable career. These sound like perfect opportunities. It's only $20 and they could get back on their feet and get working again in a short time.
You know, I was actually talking to a restaurant manager yesterday, and he's been out of work now almost, I guess, 4 weeks because they're doing that curbside delivery. And I was like, what a perfect time to start on cybersecurity, because that was an interest a long time ago. But, you know, life happens, and he's in that hospitality business. But with those reduced hours, what better opportunity to hop into a class, get that certificate now, so when we do come out on the other side of things, you're ready to go. And whether you stay in the current role you're in or if you want to upskill, it really truly is the ideal time to do that. Never before have we had an opportunity where you're stuck at home in many ways. So leverage that time and don't waste that time opportunity. And like I said, $20, what an opportunity. And I was telling my team this morning, hey, everybody got their stimulus checks. You know, we know they have $20, at least today. Tomorrow that $20 might be gone, but what an opportunity to get in and get started.
So it's only $20. The campaign's still going on, but you need to get registered or get on a waiting list. Where can they go to do that on the website? And is there a number they can call?
Yes, so they can go to hccs.edu /changemylife. and then they can actually go straight into the virtual lobby. You all have been talking about the virtual lobby.
Yes.
If they go to the main HCC webpage, hit the virtual lobby, select either Career for You Academy or Adult Education. Adult Education is going to be if you're interested in ESL or GED programs, and then Career for You Academy is for any of those certificate programs, and we'll immediately contact you through the virtual lobby. That's really probably the best way. The phone lines still work, super busy, but the virtual lobby, we know we're contacting those immediately as they're coming through. They can pre-register through our website, as I mentioned, hccs.edu/changemylife. They go on there, click the blue bar, sign up for any of those waiting list dates that we have right now. And then we'll be contacting them individually with a special link that they'll go on to attend that registration.
Dr. Christina Robinson, the Executive Director of Adult Education and Literacy Programs, thanks for being here and bringing us up to date where you guys are. Folks, I got to tell you, this program is incredibly popular, because it's a great deal. And right now, so many people are in need of help, not just financially, but getting back on their feet, maybe with a new career. That's what you guys are here for.
That's right. We look forward to seeing them all dial in and log in.
Thanks for joining us this morning, Dr. Robinson. We'll see you again sometime.
Have a great day.
Thank you. And once again, joining us for his Wednesday segment, Chief Greg Cunningham, HCC Police Department. Chief, thanks for being here.
Listen, I always enjoy coming to see you guys. It's become a regular Wednesday thing for me now.
Well, we know we all have a little bit of extra time nowadays because we've got, we're all kind of cooped up in the house and working remotely. But let's talk about some things that are serious right now. I know we've talked about this over the past few weeks, but every time you hear, people do talk about or ask about, is there a way, or can the Chief give us some tips? What do these crime statistics mean to me as an HCC student? And we know that some statistics, even though we're all home, are going up right now. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're seeing a different kind of crime start to happen. Unfortunately, in the Houston area specifically, we've seen a 10% rise in aggravated assaults. Now, aggravated assault usually means that it was aggressive and they used a weapon. Unfortunately, a large number of those are becoming domestic violence cases. This is where people have been cooped up in the house together and they're starting to work on each other's nerves. You have to understand, shelter in place is absolutely terrifying if you're already in a shaky relationship that may be slightly abusive anyway. What I would encourage you to do is make sure you get away from each other a little bit, right? Everybody take a walk independently, get a little space between you and yourself, pass off the kids if they're there, right? So that there isn't one person that's responsible for all of the tasks all of the time. This situation is kind of terrifying, especially for those men and women that are in a relationship that's already a little rocky.
Yeah, absolutely. And these times are trying, and it's certainly not good news, but it seems like alcohol sales are up 55%. You throw that in the mix of a rocky relationship and you've got a recipe for disaster, I would imagine.
You really do. And we just all need to be cognizant of it. And, I've been a big fan of look out for your neighbors, say hello to people. What you want to do is make sure that we kind of do that, right? We got to take care of each other. One of the other things that's going on out there, obviously, burglary of a habitation or burglary of a home is going down because a lot of people are at home virtually all the time. But what we're seeing burglaries of businesses. Sorry, I had a little message pop up. What we're getting are burglaries of businesses going on. And the criminal element is really kind of the way it does business. It's really interesting. The drug business is getting very weird. And they're starting to counterfeit things that are really, really dangerous now. We've been talking a lot about the use of fentanyl and how deadly that stuff is. Well, it turns out now what they're doing is they're lacing a lot of other drugs with fentanyl because they can't get the actual drug that they want to sell. And that type of thing is going on as well.
Chief, one thing I've noticed too, and especially the first couple of weeks of the shutdown, I noticed the streets weren't busy at all. There was hardly anybody out on the roads. But it seems to me in the last 10 days in particular, the traffic has increased dramatically. And I live along Memorial near the park, and boy, it's a straightaway, and there seems to be a lot of people going faster than normal out there. Are you seeing more people on the roads? And it just seems like, are they just opening it up because there aren't a lot of police officers around?
Well, so it's interesting that you say that, because a couple of things. I think a lot of people are getting in their cars and going for a ride to get away from that house, right?
Yeah.
And that isn't a horrible idea, because your car is basically a contained package, right? You're already with these people in the house, or if you're driving around with your kids. So getting out and just kind of changing scenery isn't a bad thing. The problem is they're changing scenery at about 85 or 90 miles an hour, okay? And therein is the problem. I tell everybody, right, when I teach them how to scuba dive, take your time. You're not going to see the whole ocean in one trip, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to encourage our watchers to do the same, right? It's a big city. It takes several days to cover it, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. And be careful while you're out there, folks. You know, just because you think there are a lot less people out on the road, just show a little courtesy out there. I haven't seen the crazy drivers that you normally see around Houston, but you do see a lot more people out there on the road right now. Just like you said, it seems like we're all going stir crazy. Some other crazy things. Looks like someone thought he was fairly lucky with an erroneous deposit in his account. You got the story on that?
Well, I've got a little bit to say about it anyway. I thought it was pretty funny last night. This guy up in Indiana, right? He's watching his checking account so that he can get his stimulus check, right? And he's a volunteer fireman, you know, working class guy, goes out there every day. And he goes to the ATM in the morning and he has $8.2 million worth of stimulus in his account. The guy didn't know what to do. He was running around telling everybody in the world.
He's an instant millionaire. Yeah, and you don't want to go cash a check, because sooner or later somebody's going to come looking for that.
Well, and for him it was about 2 or 3 hours later. And the funny part of the story was he was talking about how depressing it was to be a millionaire and have lost it all. So, you know, always looking for something to make you smile. I thought that one was worth money.
And, you know, we're finding out now what essential workers are, and rightfully so across the nation. But it seems like some politicians do have a sense of humor when it comes to essential workers.
Yeah, well, again, in the effort to try to dig up things to talk about with you guys and my people who need to hear them as well. So New Zealand decided that just right before, I guess late last week, that they were going to designate the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy as essential workers and able to move around the country freely. So it's good to see somebody smiling out there.
You got to have a sense of humor through this thing. Chief, I wanted to ask you, and I didn't get a chance to ask you earlier, how's your staff doing? How are they holding up through this? Because I know your guys are working as normal right now, maybe in a different fashion, but they're all on duty.
Yeah, they sure are. And I got to tell you what, I've never been more proud of a group of humans in my life. The men and women that work for us are just incredible. They're coming to work. They're doing the jobs that need to be done around the place. We have had a few folks that unfortunately tested positive, but they're doing really, really well. And in fact, I think 2 or 3 of them are back to work already, and we're expecting our last one to come back here real quick. We had a bunch of folks that were self-quarantined because of travel or because of close contacts just in their life, and most of those are coming back as well. Everybody is working really, really well together. Morale is pretty good. We'd love to have more to do, and we'd love to see our students and our faculty and staff. But you know what? We're performing a really important job. A lot of the effort right now, Todd, is going into, so what does opening back up look like, right? I don't know that that's anywhere on the horizon, but we're really talking about, so how will we do that well when it happens? So there's a lot of planning going into that, obviously from the education side, as well as police and facilities, and everybody else is jumping on board.
Yeah, we're starting to have those internally with HCCTV, just, internal conversation, just preliminary. What is it going to look like? Because as we've talked about before, we don't think it's going to be just open your doors, get everybody go back to work and go out to eat. It's not going to happen that way. But I think it's good to start having these discussions, to start thinking in that direction.
Well, and that's absolutely correct. I mean, you're starting to hear the federal government, Dr. Fauci, and the rest of the folks begin to, what does this look like, right? How do we open up the doors and get back in business without just getting another spike started where we got to go back and start all over again? So there's a lot of planning to it. And an institution as large as HCC, when Kurt talks about the stuff he was talking about today was the easy, the hard stuff are the things that we're talking about, right? How do we get back in business? How do we take care of our students well? And it's really a heavy lift to do this right, so that everybody stays healthy and can get their certificates and degrees done.
Absolutely. Chief Greg Cunningham joins us every Wednesday here on Up to the Minute. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you guys so much. Normally I hang around for you, but I think I'm going to dash today. I've got an appointment I need to make. It's a pleasure seeing you. Brittany, you've been awful quiet today, and it breaks my heart. I enjoy visiting with you.
We miss seeing you, Chief, and it's okay. You guys have some important topics to talk about. I just, wrap it up with social media talk, but, we'll see you again next week.
Y'all be good. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Chief.
Bye-bye.
All right, Brittany, the Chiefs was talking about getting things back to normal one day, and we're not there yet. We have a little ways to go. But one thing, normalcy for people, is trying to have a graduation. A lot of our students are getting ready to graduate, and we're doing things a bit differently, especially with the graduation ceremony.
That is absolutely correct, Todd. This semester is going to be the very first in HCC history of having a virtual commencement ceremony. So for all of our spring 2020 graduates, you still have that opportunity to participate in this semester's commencement ceremonies. Again, it's going to be virtual. It's never been before done with HCC, so it's going to be interesting. And while I'm talking about graduation at the moment, you all be sure to use the official hashtag that we're going to be following. So if you guys want to share your photos of you and your regalia, or you just want to share your photo that you're graduating on May 22nd and have a shout out message, please be sure to use the official HCC grad 2020 hashtag. Again, I'm going to say that one more time because I did say that incorrectly. Hashtag HCC grad 2020. That's going to be used across all platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Share your photos, share your comment that you're graduating, and we'll be sure to reshare it on the official HCC social media.
Absolutely, students. And I've got to tell you, working with the team here at HCCTV and our administration, folks are working very hard to get this graduation underway. We're excited about it. I know it's doing things differently, but we're living in a different world right now. We're having to do things differently, but we're also giving students the option to either participate in this graduation if you want to do so, and you still want to walk. Well, guess what? You can do it in December. We're offering that option. Or if you'd say, like, I'd rather just walk, then you've got that option as well of walking in December. So we're trying to give students options with this, Brittany.
Absolutely, Todd. And while you're speaking about options, I'm going to steer a little bit away from graduation just to talk about the available resources that HCC has to offer to its students in this very trying time. Students, we know that many of you are either out of work or trying to work from home and still attend classes, but you just need some extra funds. Well, HCC has their emergency fund available to all of the students. You just need to go online. You can go to hccs.edu/emergency funds. I believe that's the correct URL. And you can go research what we have to offer and apply. It doesn't matter if you're receiving financial aid or not. These are funds allocated for people who need to help pay their rent, have car repairs, maybe need help pay for their tuition because summer 2020 registration is underway, and we encourage everyone to please go ahead and register. It's going to be 100% online classes, but we know the funds are going to probably be tight with a lot of our students, but HCC is here to help. So again, go to hccs.edu/emergency fund or emergency help. I think that's the other URL to research what we have available and to go ahead and register for summer classes.
And another thing we have available as well for our students, we just started this on our webpage, I want to say in the last 2 weeks, but if you go to our homepage, hccs.edu, scroll to the bottom of the page, there is a virtual assistance tab. You click on that, it takes you into the virtual lobby. If you have questions about the pass-fail option, graduation, the emergency funds, maybe some financial aid questions, any of those questions, or let's say you're looking for just a little bit of counseling or academic advising, you can go to that one-stop shop on the homepage, click the virtual assistance tab, and fill out with your situation. Someone will be getting back to you. So that's out there for students as well, and that's something they should take advantage of.
Absolutely. HCC is not only here to provide a high-quality education to our students, but we're also here to help our students in this very trying time and just to be supportive. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Our middle name is community, and we are here for all of our community members and especially our HCC students, faculty, and staff to provide the resources that they need in order to get through each day successfully.
Well, Brittany, anything you're hearing in social media from students, any questions you want to throw out there today?
You know what, Todd? It's actually been really, really quiet on social media. We're encouraging, again, students to look into applying for summer 2020. Registration is open and underway. Again, all the classes are going to be 100% online. Now, that's not to say all classes are going to be available, but you can just go to hccs.edu/now to check out the course listings and see what is available for you to enroll.
Now's the time to register online for the summer. Make sure you get the classes that you want. And hopefully, we're all keeping our fingers crossed that come fall, we'll be back in those buildings and back up to speed, at least in some type of normal fashion. We don't know what it's going to look like yet, folks, but we are trying to do that. Brittany, thanks for being here this morning and keeping us up to date and in tune with social media. And we thank you for joining us this morning. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, share this post to get the word out there. And most of all, have a good day. Enjoy the day. It's beautiful outside. Social distance, get some fresh air. And remember, once again, we will be back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning on Up to the Minute. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.